Good morning, and today we will start. Uh, we will actually continue uh, with the cross currency swaps. And in the cross currency swap, with the quick recap, we understood that these are being used especially when there is a loan payment in one currency and the revenue generation is in another currency. And in order to get, like, cover up the exchange rate risk and interest rate risk, many times the companies enter into these swaps where they do not want to have the hassle of keep paying a currency, the interest in a currency in which they are not generating the revenues, right? And in that way, what they will do also, they'll do they will basically hatch two sort of exposure. One, definitely exchange risk exposure. For example, continuing from the same example, let's suppose there is an American company, and this American company has to pay its loan payments in dollars, and its revenues are coming from Great Britain in the Great Britain pound, sterlings, right? Now, after every 1 year, when the interest payment needed to be made, they have to convert their pound into the US dollars. And at that time, obviously, they got exposed to the exchange rate risk, number one. Number two, if their interest payments, like whatever, like it is subject to a situation where the interest is basically charged to them on a fixed or basically variable rates, right? In that case, they they want a fixed payment. At least they know that what fixed portion they are getting right now, right? If they are getting a fixed portion, obviously when they will enter in the transaction with the swap dealer, they will keep paying them fixed amount of the US dollars, because this is their loan payment is in US dollars, and they will be keep paying them the fixed amount of the Great Britain pound. So they know that there is no variation over there. So main thing is over here, they are actually covering their currency swaps. So it's a currency swap. They are swapping their currencies. They do not want to deal with this headache that, okay, how we will pay the dollar interest payment when we kept on receiving the pound interest payment. So this is the main thing over here, right? So if we'll continue with the same example, if you can recall over here, that this is actually how they are making the payments, right? So if you see over here, they are making, let me select the pencil over here, right? So in fact, just change the color. So over here, the rate was given to us, and how did we pick the rate? Rate was given over here in the slide, in this exhibit, and you can see that over here the loan was for 3 years, year 1, year 2, year 3. For the loan payment, they want to keep receiving the dollars, so keep receiving the dollars, right? And they want to keep paying the pounds. What was the amount? They wanted to hedge their interest payments in the different currency, which is dollar in this case, right, of $10 million, right? Because their interest payment will be charged on $10 million principal amount which they borrowed, right? Now this $10 million at the existing exchange rate turned out to be 6.4 million pound. This is right. So both these amount will be written in the contract. Now, how much they will be paying? So it depends on the ask rate of pound, right? So asking rate means that what the dealer is asking the party to pay, right? So if you go over here, this was a 3-year contract, and go under the pound. So this is pound, right? So let me select the pencil over here. So this is pound, and the ask rate was 1.15%. So the dealer is saying that give us at 1.15% the interest payments, these fixed payments over this principal, right? So if you do the calculation, you can find out The calculation is basically 6,410,256 multiplied by what is the payment? It's 0.0115. You simply divided this amount, this thing 1.15, because this is in terms of percentage, divided with 100, so you'll get this 0.0115. So enter, this will give you 73,717, or in fact if you round it off to the nearest ones, it will give you 73,718 pound after at the end of every period. So this interest payment, this interest payment, this interest payment, plus we have the principal repayment, right? So all these over the next 3 periods, the party has to pay to the swap dealer. In return, what swap dealer will pay? The swap dealer will pay the dollar interest payments, right? So if you see the dollar interest payments again, if you will go back over here, this is the bid rate. So if you see over here, these are the dollars, right? So they will always pay you less, 1.26, not the high, this bigger number, right? So 1.26% of 10 million will generate 126,000, right? Now, in the last week, when I left the topic, I left what will happen if by the end of the first year, say after only one swap of these payments, so the dealer paid $126 to the party, and in exchange of 73,718 pounds from the party to the dealer, right? And this payment definitely might be used by the party to pay its interest payments in dollars, right? Now, after 1 year, they figure it out. Oh, we found another big customer, now this time in USA, and they will be paying us in US dollars. So that headache of paying the payment in the US dollars from our revenues, the interest payment of US dollar is no more there. So they will want to unwind, this is word we will use, unwind the payment over here after 1 year. So they simply want to get out of this contract, right? If the party wants to get out of this contract, we will have to find the present value of these future cash flows, right? So we know that first start with this one, 73,718. There are two payments. How? At the end of the second period, there is one interest payment, then one interest payment, and the principal notion payment, which the party have to make to the dealers, right? So what we will do, we will find their present value. How can you find their present value? Simply 73,718 divided by 1 plus, now how many years left? 2 years left. So we will go and find out that what are the 2-year rate. Say, like rather 3-year rate. Remember, we use the 3-year rate in order to find all these 3 payments. But now because 2 years left, so we have to look for the 2 years. Say if the 2-year rate is 1.5% over the pound. So 4 pound, say 4 pound, if 2-year rate is 1.5%. So simply we'll divide 73,718 divided by 1 plus 0.015 raised to the power 1. Why raised to the power 1? Because if you are now moved at the end of the year 1, only you have to discount 1 period back. What is the present worth of this? In fact, this we are talking about. What is the present worth of this 73,718 pound 1 year back to you when you moved over here at the end of the first year? Remember, this was year 1. This is year 2. And this is year 3. And this is year 0. Means right now when you did the like when the party entered into the swap. And once this first year has gone, over here they want to unwind this position. So it means that the present worth of this second year payment which they have to make will have to be discounted one period back. Remember, now the present changed from the year 0 to year 1, because once the first payment is made, you moved ahead. Like after 1 year, this is basically the present point in time, right? So if you discount it back, 73,718 divided by 1 plus 0.015 raised to the power 1, right? Plus you have to discount this as well over here, 2 periods back, right? So plus, what is the total amount they have to pay? 6,483,974. So 6,483,974 whole divided by 1 plus 0.015 raised to the power 2. Now do this calculation. This will give you the present value of all these two future cash flows which the party had to make to the swap dealer. Rather paying these two payments at separate point in time in the future, because the party wants to unwind it, they want to pay a lump sum payment today now over here at the end of the first year, right? And if this is the situation, you can calculate the numbers. It's given in the book and I'm writing from the book. If you do the calculation, it should be equal to 6,366,374, right? Now, either you can do it this manual calculation and find it over here, or either if you have a BA2 Texas Instrument calculator, it's very easy to do the calculation over here. Second cash flow, second clear, right? Now, the end of the year 0 over end of the year 1 over here, this will be CF0. Now, what is the first unique cash flow? The first unique cash flow will come at the end of the year 2, which you have to discount. So that value was 73,780, right? You can put the minus just to symbolize that it's the outflow of the cash, right? So minus, enter. How many times it got repeated? Only one time. This second time I'm not considering it. I'm adding that together and using only this payment, right? So this is the second unique cash flow. So this 73,718 I'm basically grouping together with this. So if the same value will repeat consecutively 2 times, then its frequency will 2. So why I'm not putting the 2 frequency? Because I'm considering this 73,718 along with 6.4 million. So I'm simply adding them together and considering it 6.4 million or 6.483 million, right? So the second unique cash flow is simply 6,483,974. Enter, right? And now I'll go into the NPV. What is the 2-year interest rate now? Remember, 2 years left. What is the 2 years interest rate? The 2 years interest rate is 1.5%, right? So give that 1.5% as it is. When you use the formula, you convert this 1.5% into decimals, and that's why we have over here in decimals. But in the calculator, you have to give as it is 1.5%. So do not divide it with 100. Enter and compute, right? So for some reason, I'm getting different values which I'm not supposed to get. That means
it was just the negative sign on the second cash flow. You didn't put it negative.
Oh, I missed that.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you for figuring that out. Yes, minus. And yes, very good, minus, very good. So minus, enter over here, because remember, I'm just symbolizing that this is the outflow of the cash from my pocket, right? So once I minus it, it's over here. The second unique cash flow is also minus. And now go back to the NPV 1.5%, go down and compute. Yes. So you can see it's 6,366,374. Is it clear? This is the present value this is the present value. Present. I do not know what's happening. It's not typing. Okay. Yes. So this is the present value of the two future pound interest payment. So you can say the swap payments. That's actually better word because it's under the swap, right? Cross currency swap payments. Clear? Now, what about this one over here? What you will do manually? For that, in order to find their present value, first we need to know what is the 2 years interest rate for the pound. 2 years interest rate for the pound, for the dollar. Sorry, for the dollar. So what is the 2-year interest rate for the dollar? Say if it is in your book, it's given as 1.4%. Right? Now what we'll do, we'll simply discount those two payments at 1.2%. So one payment was the interest payment, which is 126,000. 1 plus 1.4%, which is 0.014 raised to the power 1. Plus, what is the second payment? This is actually 10,126,000. So 10 million is the principal and 126,000 is the interest portion. So 10,126,000 whole divided by 1 plus 0.014 raised to the power 2. Raised to the power 2, right? So if you do this calculation in your book, this value is given 9,972,577, right? So these are the payment. We can double check again over here. Go into the second cash flow, second clear. You need to clear it, right? Now this is the amount which you will be receiving. So positive value will be attached to it. What is CF0? CF0 is the payment over here at the end of the first cash flow. Why? Because after first cash flow, at the end of the first year, at the end of the first year, you decided, or the company decided, that we are unwinding this position. If the company is deciding unwinding after paying the first year payment, then these two payments are no more relevant. All what is relevant is the present value of the future cash flows, which is associated to this and this, right? In that case, CF0 will keep as it is. Go to the first unique cash flow. The first unique cash flow over here is 126. We'll attach a positive sign because it will be a cash inflow, right? So it symbolizes and tells to the calculator that we'll receive it, right? Enter. How many times 126,000 repeated? It's actually 2 times. But the second payment I'm including with the 10 million. So I'm simply saying just consider that this is a 126,001 payment. If again the same payments will repeat for say next 4 or 5 years, then it depends on how many times the same payment is getting repeated. We'll give that in the frequency. Over here, why I'm giving first frequency? Because the other same amount 126 I'm not considering separately. I'm including it in the overall, along with the principal, that in the lump sum I'll pay interest and the principal. So that's why frequency is only 1, right? Enter, go down. Now what is the second unique cash flows? 10,126,000. Okay, enter, and here we go. NPV. What is the interest rate? 2-year interest rate for the pound. The 2-year interest rate was 1.4. Right, 1.4. I think this is what I have given over here, 1.4. So 1.4. In the formulas again, you need to convert into decimal by dividing the 1.4% with 100. But in the calculator, just type 1.4 as it is. Enter and go down. Now NPV compute, right? 9,972,577. right? So this is the same thing. So it means that what will happen that in future, if now after 1 year, there is a party sitting over here who entered into the swap with the swap dealer who sold the swap, cross country swap, to the party. This party needs to make in order to unwind the position and get out of the swap contract, wind the contract. Right. They have to pay, this party has to pay how much pounds today, rather paying the two separate pounds in the future. They have to pay at 1.5%, right? The present worth of the future pound becomes 6,366,374. This is what party need to pay: 6,366,374. Clear? Now, if this party is doing, obviously the dealer also have to pay something back. That was the dollars, right? So today, at the end of the first year, in order to unwind this position, this much dollars has to be paid by the dealer, which is 9,972,577. Clear? Now, when the final settlement happened only in case of a net payment, right? So net settlement happened in this way. Net settlement. So at that time, when this settlement is happening, we'll see that what is the exchange rate. The exchange rate at that time is $1.65 per pound, right? So let's see that who will be making the final payment, right? So if you see over here, the net settlement will be something like this: 9,972,577 multiply by 6. Sorry, this is not multiply, it has to be minus, this has to be then 6,366,374 multiply by 1.65. Now what we are getting over here, 9,972,577 minus go to the calculator, do this calculation. So we have 6,366,374 multiplied by 1.65. So we have almost 10 million 500 4,517. I'm just not putting things in the decimals right now, right? So what is happening over here? I'm just, because it's in negative, so negative, I'm getting minus 9,972,577, right? So I'm getting 31,540. What is this now? So all these are in dollars. Remember, this is dollars, and after converting this, remember what was this? This was pound. And what was this exchange rate? This was, remember, dollar divided by pound. So pound got cancelled with each other. and we are only left with these dollars, right? So this is also dollars, this is also dollar, and finally this is also dollar, but in negative, right? In fact, I should write it over here. Dollar minus 531,940. So one party have to pay. Who is that party who is bearing this loss? Can someone guess? Who is this party?
The party who wants to unwind?
Yes. Why? The reason is just because of the change in the value of the pound. Can you see over here? When they agreed in the start, what was the rate? What was the rate? Right?
1.56.
1.56 $1.56 $1.56 per pound. And when they unwind, at that time, pound actually appreciated, right, to 1.65, right? So it has gone up, the pound appreciated. And the party's liability was in which currency? It was in the pounds. So it means when the pound appreciated, party's liability also increased, right? So because of this situation, the party ended up doing a loss if they will unwind this contract, its position from the cross currency swap at this new rate. If this would have been other way around, say if it is less than 1.56, you will see that it's actually the party who will be making the profit over here rather the swap dealer. Now this is actually the gain of the swap dealer. So swap dealer will not pay this money back. Swap dealer will simply say, whatever is the net dollar amount, give it to me. And the company will pay this net dollar amount to the swap dealer. Is it clear? Right? Any questions? Okay. What is the discussion going on? That I think someone asked this discussion that what is that the money market hedge, in the money market hedge, and I think interest rate swaps or cross currency swaps. What was the question? Can someone tell me? Because there are so many discussion going on.
I think it was arbitrage.
Sorry? Arbitrage?
I think it was interest rate arbitrage.
Okay, interest rate arbitrage. Rate arbitrage. So, like, again, as many of people have actually suggested over there, like in the money market hedge, you are basically simply covering your exposure, right? So it's basically whatever your exposure, you are basically trying to save that exposure. So there are many calculations which are same. But for example, what we are doing over here, these calculations over here to unwind. When we are unwinding, we are discounting, right? We are using simply the time value of money. But over here, what is the purpose? Purpose is to unwind our, cross currency swaps. Over here, the calculation can be similar. But again, as many have suggested over there, that concepts are different. Over here, the purpose is to earn risk-less profit. Over here, the purpose is to basically cover your exposure, right? So again, if you see, there will be many calculations you will find very much similar, but you need to go with the concept. And the time value of money concept, which is used for discounting, that actually is the key for many calculations, right? So does not matter if there are 2, 3, 4, 5 different concepts where the calculations are similar. You need to understand the concept, because the key to understand the concept is the main thing which you need to take from this class, right? That yes, the calculation can be similar, but the main thing is the concepts are different. So they both are different concepts. Okay. Now do this question. In fact, let's do it together. I have actually done it, but you need to guide me through this question. You guys need to guide me through this question. So there is a company and they want to enter into a cross currency swap for 3 years. So cross currency swap for 3 years. Okay. And in this swap, they are basically receiving the euro and they'll be paying the yen. So maybe they are paying the yen because there will be huge revenues generating over here, right? They are receiving the euros. Maybe they have entered into an interest payment where the interest payment will be made in euros, right? Interest payment. Or maybe they are importing something from a European supplier and periodically they have to make these payments to that European supplier, right? Whatever is the purpose, right? We do not know. The main thing is that they are short of euro, so they want periodic euros, right? They are in excess of yen, so they need to pay the yen for euros. Is it clear? Now, if they want to cover their interest payment over 5 million euros, 5 million euros, and this is the spot rate, then what is the notional amount in the yen? The notional amount of the yen is simply 5 million multiplied by 104, and this will give you the yen. So it means that they'll keep paying the interest payment to the swap dealers in yen, and that payment will be calculated on the notional amount of 520 million yen. How we calculated this? Based on the spot rate, right? And why we got this amount? Because we multiply the spot rate with the notional principal of euro, because this is the principal payment on which this party needs to make the interest payment, right? So 5 million euros. Now say if the 3 years bid rate for euro is 3.24 and the 3 years rate for the yen is 0.59, then what are the annual payments? So how do we find the annual payments? So it means that the party will be paying the yen on 0.59% multiplied by 520 million, right? For the next 3 years. This will be the interest payment, right? So what is that interest payment? If you will do the calculations, so remember you have to divide this 0.59 with 100, right? So if you divide it, what will you get? 0.0059 multiplied by 520 million, right? It means this
3
million. Sorry?
I was giving the answer, so 3,068,000.
Yes, 3,068,000 this party has to pay to the swap dealer at the end of each of the next 3 years, right? So they are entering into the transaction at the year 0, right? Year 1, year 2, and year 3, right? And this is the amount which they have to pay, right? So over here, here, and here. But in the end, they are also making another payment. What is that payment? This notional principal, 520 million yen. Is it clear? Now, what about the euro that they will receive? So in the same way, now you need to multiply 3.24% with 5 million. I have actually done the calculations over here. So they will receive 162,000 at the end of the first year, at the end of the second year, and at the end of the third year, they will not only receive 126,000, but also the 5 million, right? So 5,162,000. And this is the payment which they will be making, right? Now that's clear. Let's suppose again by at the end of the first year, what is happening that they want to unwind the position, unwind their position. So what will happen over here? At that time, you need to look for the 2-year rate for the euro and yen. Why? Because only 2 years are left. 1 and 2. Because you moved already over here. So say if the 2-year euro rate is 3.6 and 2-year yen rate is 0.8, what we'll do? We will discount the future cash flows in those currencies at their respective rates and find their present value. So in case of yen, what we will do over here, why not straight away go and do the calculation in the calculator. So how much yen they will be, they have to make the payment in yen, right? So how much payment in yen then they have to pay today in order to unwind the position? You do your calculation and I'm doing my calculation. I'll go into the cash flow, clear, and because it's a payment, so it's the outflow of the cash. And remember, CF0 is nothing over here because at the end of the year 1, the first payments are already made. So the only concerning part is the future payments, right? So the first unique cash flow is 3,068,000, right? Minus, enter, what is the second unique cash flow? C02. That is actually 523,068,000 minus, enter, and then NPV. What is the interest? Now 2-year interest. Remember, now we will not use this 0.59 interest, right? So 2-year interest is 0.8. When you do the manual calculation, convert that 0.8 into the decimals, means 0.008. But over here, we simply write 0.8. 0.8, enter, compute. So 5,017,841,931. This is the payment they have to make it today, right? You have any question, anyone? So it means over here, the party has to make over here in order to unwind the position over here at this point. The party have to make the payment of yen 517,841,931, right? That's it. And how much they will receive? They will receive the euro, or they are entitled to receive the euro of, again you have to discount them, right? So if you will go 100, second cash flow, second clear, so clear your previous work. So the first unique cash flow is 162,000, enter, and this 162,000 only repeated one time, so that's why frequency is 1. Now over here it is the second unique cash flow is 5,162,000. Enter. Now second, you will go into the NPV. What is your rate at which you will discount the euro payment? It depends on the 2-year euro rate. So this is given over here, 3.6. So you will go and feed 3.6, enter, and then you do the computation. So 4,965,855 is the payment, right? So 4,965,855. That's the payment, right? They are entitled to make this to receive this much, and they are obliged, they are obligated to pay this much in yen, right? Now the question is, who will be at loss? For that purpose, see what is the liability of each party and see what was how the currencies changed If you see, this is the spot rate in the start, euro, yen 104 versus each unit of euro. And it got changed to this rate. So which currency appreciated? And which currency depreciated?
Euro appreciated.
Yes.
Yen depreciated.
Yes. So earlier it was 104 versus each euro. Now yen is 114 versus each euro. So euro appreciated. So it means whosever liability was in euro, there will be a loss. Whosever asset currency was in euro, they will basically get profit. So because this party was receiving the euro and euro appreciated, so who is at profit? The party is at profit. And who are doing the loss? Whatever is the profit for the party, it's actually a loss for the swap dealers. Swap dealers' liability was in euro, right? So they had to pay. Receive is from the perspective of the company. So whatever is the company is receiving, who is paying? Swap dealer. So their liability of the swap dealer was in euro. And when the euro appreciated, liability also appreciated for the swap dealer. So if you do the net settlement calculation, you will find out that eventually the swap dealer has to make 423,382 euros to the party. So swap dealer will pay to the party. Is it clear? Questions over here. I'm coming back to your screen so that if you have a question, because with this last calculation, we end our interest rate swap and cross currency swap chapter, which is I think chapter number 8, topic number 8. Chapter number 8 from your book. Question, guys.
So can we convert it to yen instead of euro?
Yeah, whatever. If the party will say, okay, let's do the final settlement in yen, then convert into yen. It's your choice.
Okay.
Right? It depends on the scenario. If in the question it is that if I'll bound you or okay, do the net settlement in yen, then do it in yen. If nothing is written, then I should accept, or whosoever is your examiner, he should accept both of the currency, right? Clear, Anish? Okay.
Yes.
Now I'm stop sharing my screen. No, I'm not stop sharing my screen. In fact, I'm giving you the same question with the different number set, and let's do that calculation, right? So